Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a Craftsman Platinum 7.75 horsepower self-propelled precision lawnmower. It has definitely seen better days. It doesn't start. I can tell you I already know it doesn't start because the individual I got it from says it doesn't start, but just upon some basic inspection we'll go over why it doesn't actually start. We're gonna see if we can get this guy running again and back to its prime purpose, mowing some lawns. So let's dive into it. So if we just do a little, walk around, the first thing we will notice is that the clutch cable that would go up this way and tie to the clutch is completely absent. Without the clutch cable, that's not going to pull in to allow the mower to be pull started, and the kill switch will be active. What's interesting though about that is that they've lost this cable, but they still have the what appears to be original fuel tank label on here. Otherwise, if you look around it, it's pretty dirty. I don't know if you can see that, but the spark plug is coated in rust. So that's not a very positive sign. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot more, I don't know, rust on it other than that. If you look underneath of it, see if I do this one hand, looks, I don't know, looks passable. I don't know. Let's start taking some things apart and doing some inspection on this. Okay, so first things first. Since we don't have a clutch cable, testing it for, to pull it or compression or spark or anything, it's not gonna work so well. We could unsnap the spring here and float it over, but I have a little clutch cable that was broken, so I'm just gonna stick it in here, and then I'm gonna pull this tight, like so, and then I'm gonna pinch it off, I think. So pretending like we actuated it, I'm just gonna pinch it off down here to the height adjuster rail. Okay, so now that's over all the way. So now we can just test and see if it turns over. Pretty sure it'll turn over, but let's see. Yeah, it turns over. Let's get this around from here. So it doesn't start, obviously. So let's do a couple things. Since we already know, let's just see what the air filter looks like. I'm curious. So, nothing special going on in there. Quite clean. Cleaner than I expected. See if anything runs out of here. No. Pre-filter's okay. It looks dirty, but the real filter is full of a mess. So much junk. So I'm gonna get any oxygen in there. Let's get some tools. Take this housing off a little bit here. Well, I guess we could figure out first if we have spark. We'll have air and we'll have spark. I don't think that spark plug's going to work, so let me go track a spark plug down, take that one out, and replace it. Okay, did a little bit of digging, pulled off the current spark plug, which was a Champion RC12Y, and I don't know if that'll zoom. There you go. You can see that it was wet from the pulls. So it is getting fuel. I should mention that I did put fuel in here, some fresh fuel, before I bothered to start messing with this. I haven't checked the oil actually, so we should probably check the oil. But I have a brand new sort of equivalent part. This one is a K5RTC knockoff kind of plug, but it'll work for what we want to try here, which is seeing if this thing will fire up. Let's see if we can't get this in there and see if we can't get it to start. And if it starts, I'll be real surprised, because how dirty it is. I would certainly expect that the carb is not working properly, but it seemed to have some fuel, so since there was some fuel, there we go. Go for giggles, put the air filter on just so that it doesn't suck any junk into the carb and then into the engine. I guess we should check the oil real fast. I would suspect this would be terrible. It's kind of a patinaed rust color. A little water in it actually. Let's check it one more time. Oh yeah, that's like a solid rusty color, kind of runny. It has not such good viscosity properties. Well, let's see if it starts anyway. Can't get any worse than it already is. If it starts, then I just have to pop the pin off here and it'll just die, or I can pull the spark plug. I'm going to pull the spark plug off. Actually, I'm going to hook the spark plug tester up to this so we can watch and see if it actually has a spark coming off of the engine before it even goes. Let's see if we can do that. Plus, this is easier to pull off if we're having a problem. Let's see if I can. I won't be able to see it that way. I'll be able to see it that way. So, let's see if I can see it sparking. I do not think it actually has spark coming off of the engine, because I don't see this lighting up at all. No, it's not sparking. So I can smell gas. So there's definitely gas coming through. I suspect that this is throwing a spark. So now we're going to have to take it a little bit apart and figure out if it's grounded out or what the problem is. Let me get a couple tools. Okay, we are going to take the whole top housing off, get down to the ignition coil, and figure out if the ignition coil is shorted out, or if it's properly grounding and not, not working basically. That's good. Oh, let's see. Almost many layers to the puzzle. Let's see about that. Get that out of here. Come here. Okay. that off. What is black? Oops. Okay. Plenty of dust, plenty of dirt. I don't know. Can folks see this? This coil is very rusty. I don't know, are the magnets still on here? Yeah, the magnet is still here. The magnets are still there. I don't know if the pin looks sheared or not. Let me bring the camera over here. So this guy is very, very rusty. I mean, seriously rusty. The gap is fine. It's nice and close like you'd expect. And the flywheel does appear to still be magnetized. Yeah, flywheel still appears to be magnetized. It's filthy. I think what we're going to do is vacuum this out. Also check to see if these linkages are working properly. Don't know. I don't see the grounding tab actually on here. I'm going to have to take this off, figure out if we can figure out where even the grounding tab is. It could just be grounded out, but actually be working. Let me clean this up a little bit. Okay, so off camera, I cleaned up the housing compartment a little bit. I retraced the grounding wire that goes to the coil. And then I changed the configuration of how we were pulling the clutch in just to make sure that the clutch was not grounding out the coil. And now we have a spark. Let me show you. I'm going to pull this just briefly. So it's good. Yeah, there we go. So we kicked over. I don't want to actually start it. There you go. We're going to take it out. We're going to take it outside and see if we can't get it to start, because we do have the blade still on it, and it's kind of in a precarious situation. So let me get it outside and we'll get it started up. See what happens. Well, here we are outside. We got the kill cable tied over here just for the pair of vice grips, and I sprayed a little bit of starter fluid on the filter screen just to, I don't know, entice it to start. Let's see what happens. Okay, well, looks like we got a runner and the transmission mostly works, although this cable could use some adjustment. It's pretty surprising. I think we're going to clean the carb anyway. We're going to clean the whole thing, but let me get back inside. Gone ahead and brought the mower back inside, and I guess towards the end of that video, maybe folks didn't notice, when I was playing with the throttle here, I've reattached the spring to it, or not the throttle, the clutch. The mower didn't actually die because I disengaged or engaged the grounding from the clutch. At least I don't think it did. It seemed to die actually because it was running out of fuel. So I need a cable, but I don't want to buy a cable for a mower that's probably either going to work or not work. So I happen to have little extra parts like this that go right here to hold a cable, and I happen to have the attachment point here. This is just a random one that you run the cable up in through there, it comes out, and then attaches to the clutch arm. You can buy from a bicycle store just empty tube like this tube here. You can buy 50 feet of this empty tube, And then you can buy another 50 feet of wire. This is 16th inch wire. And they sell these little things here that look just like the one that comes on a factory one, except it just has a little threaded thing that locks the cable in. You put them on either end, or on the end that's on the mower side, you take one of these braided clips and you just clip it on, and you can make yourself whatever size cable you need for a mower. Turns out, you know, they're relatively similar sizes, but all of these parts together here is about $30 for like 5 of these little guys. This cable, this cable. Um, the legit part, the OEM part for this mower, to connect from there up to here is roughly, I want to say it was 18 bucks. So you can make far more cables than that. And if anybody else noticed when we were playing with the transmission does work, it seems, but it's very loose. So we're probably going to have to actually remake that cable or adjust that cable. So for right now, I think the next step before I go clean the carb or do anything else is figure out, does the clutch cable, when attached, actually kill the engine or not? So I'm going to make a cable up real quick, and then we're going to install it and see, I guess. So let me just show you. I made up a cable, as you can see, down here. Does what it's supposed to do. Let's see if we can't get the mower to start. Okay, kill cable does work. So, on to the next task. I think we're going to strip this thing down, clean it up, and see where that takes us. So, I decided maybe the next step was to get the oil out of this, because if we're going to do some work on it, we may as well get it to an empty state. I ran the gas out of it, and here we are looking at the oil. The oil looks like chocolate milk. That's not good. I guess while we have it flipped up and we're draining all the oil into the oil pan here, we will PB blast off this blade, because we're not going to be able to use this blade ever again. It's pretty worn out. And then I can look at the blade, and then we can take the shroud off here, and then we'll be able to clean up the motor assembly for the front drive, or for the rear drive. It does work, but may as well get it all cleaned up and taken apart while it's upside down. Probably need to put some PB Blaster on that. And right down there, there's probably one right there. Okay, let this sit and stew for a little bit. Well, that came out a lot easier than I expected. Let's see if it's seized on there. mostly seized on there, but you can see it's pretty worse for wear. I'll get these other screws off there. Okay, I was pretty taken aback by how bad the oil was on this. So before I put a lot of effort into fixing this up or restoring it, because I am thinking about getting rid of all the rust, sanding the deck down, repainting it, fixing the stickers, just as just as a fun exercise. And knowing how rusty that spark plug was, I think it's probably a good idea to go ahead and take a bore scope down the cylinder head here and look and see what we see. So I have this pretty dandy nifty bore scope camera. It's got moldable, it allows you to look from the front and from the side. It's got a lighting system. If you switch, the light will go to the front or go to the back or go to both sides. It does split mode. It does all kinds of stuff. I might record a video of what this does. I'll put the video of what we're about to look at here up here in the corner so that we can, I don't know, actively be engaging with each other as I see what I see. But let's get this in here and kind of look around and see what we see. Okay, so frankly, the bore is in great shape. There's no rust or anything. I can see one of the valves is open, but that's probably just because I didn't really rotate this to any specific position. It's sort of down at the bottom of maybe the exhaust stroke, it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and turn recording on so we can record what we see here. Okay, so again, coming in, looks nice. There's a lot of soot and stuff on the top of the cylinder head, but that's sort of expected. Let's change our angle. See if we can't get a look at the valves and their seats. Yeah, we kind of get this in there. Yeah, you can't really see the second valve very well. There we go. There's the second valve. It's right on the edge. It's not seated all the way down. There is a lot of junk on the second valve. And there's the first valve open. The seat looks okay. No rust though. I guess I'll switch the record mode just for giggles. So with this record mode here, you can see the cylinder head straight ahead. You can see the valves at the same time on the sides. I'll cut this together so it makes more sense, but basically you can pivot the head around and it kind of gives you a picture of what's going on here. This engine, even though the bottom side of the deck looked so bad, stop recording here. Even though the bottom side of the engine looked very, very bad, and the spark plug was super, super rusty, I think that this guy's a decent candidate for restoration. I think we're going to yank the engine off the frame here. I'm going to take apart the bottom, take apart the whole bottom assembly, and give it a good paint job. Could be fun. Okay, there we go. After that. Okay, fast forward a little bit, back into the shop here. I have spent a little time. I've disassembled the whole mower. We need to now clean all of these parts. I'm going to put some degreaser on them, clean them all up, and then we need to reassemble, well, paint and then reassemble. So as part of cleaning up, we're obviously going to wire wheel all the rust off, and then we'll prep them and paint them. Probably not going to show maybe me wire wheeling everything down and washing it, but I definitely show you when we get to the end. Probably the most stubborn bolt in here was this guy, which we had to turn into a flathead instead of a T45. It just would not come out. That was holding on the front end here. As you can see, there's definitely like rust behind that, so I wanted to get that off. The other thing that we're going to do as part of this process, you can see all these stickers are pretty much trashed. This one's okay. I might keep him, but I've gone ahead and manufactured up some new stickers. These aren't the final cut. These are just some prototypes, but like that one would go right there, and you can make these and print them up on some label paper that's waterproof and stick them back on the mower. I have remade like all of them, so like that one goes over there, and this one here's the label for right there. But basically when we're done, the mower will be restored back to sort of factory condition. We'll clean up all of this. If you wanted to see the underside, is pretty cruddy. So let's get to cleaning this up, and I don't know, we'll jump back in after I get to that. Okay, this video is definitely from a time series standpoint and in real life getting long. I've cut out some parts just to make sure the video itself isn't long on YouTube. Just to summarize, got this mower. It would start, but it wouldn't run. It would run for a couple seconds and a surge and then die. Ran on starter fuel basically. So usually that indicates some sort of fuel supply problem. Whether the carburetor is too dirty or the gas tank had dirt in it, not very clear. But we noted from an observation on the engine that it was very rusty. So I was curious if maybe just the compression was messed up on it or what. Drained the oil out of it, found the oil to be very milky, which usually means there's water in the oil on a mower like this. Bore scoped it, found that the cylinders looked great. Other than having a lot of carbon deposits, same thing with the valve seats, looked great. Other than having a lot of carbon on them, we do need to yank those off and clean them as part of this process. But just trying to get the mower to a happy state first before we do all that. Since it looked like trash, but on the inside looked great, decided that we would give it a little bit of a facelift. So we repainted the deck. Haven't done much with the handlebars, but we've repainted the deck. We've repainted the underside of the deck, ripped off all of the rust that was under here, replaced the blade. Can't do much about the little plastic shroud, but check the blade out. I mean, the original blade looks like trash. Here's a similar brand new blade. Trash, not trash. So now it looks great, but we still took it outside and it doesn't run great. You can get it to run for a minute or less. I mean, for the clip I just showed, it just runs for 10 seconds or something and dies. Definitely still looks like a fuel supply problem. So in case we can't clean the carb, did get a replacement carb. You'll note that the replacement carb has the fuel on the opposite side of the OEM carb. Got new gaskets, new air filter, and we're gonna have to change that no matter what. Got a fuel filter to put in line here because I believe this is one of those tanks that does not have a fuel filter in it. So it's possible there's a bunch of junk sitting in this little area here that's clogging all the fuel coming. Because I have noted that if you let it sit for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, then you start it, it'll run, then it'll die, then it'll run, then it'll die. So it could just be the flow is interrupted by crap right here. So I think the first thing we're going to do is yank off this carb, see if we can't check what's on inside of it, clean it out maybe, and move forward. But before we can yank the carb, we need to drain the fuel. So these little magnetic trays work out nice to dump fuel into while you're getting ready to get a bottle to move the line over to and dump the fuel in. So I think we're going to pull this off and kind of get started on this route. I think in the end, if we can't get this carburetor to work happily, we will swap the carb, shorten the line. I don't think these needle nose are going to work for getting this off. Let's use the dike. I'm stuck. Okay, there we go. Now let's see how our fuel goes. So the fuel definitely runs. Gonna let it run out completely. As you can see, it's nice and clean. Didn't really get much in our tray. I'm gonna leave the tray here actually, because I might dump the carb bottom of the carb into the tray. But let's see how much fuel I have in the tank. Shouldn't be too much, I don't think. Probably have to time sequence this, because we don't want to watch this drain. Okay. You can clip it. But I can't. Clip it this way. Okay, so got that out of the way. Take this fuel. Very pretty. I mean, nice. Take off the air. Let's take the air filter off. Take the air filter assembly off. There's a little. Oh, man. And let's see what we got going on with our carburetor. I have hosed this off since we got it. Since I had to take the engine off of everything. Yeah, he split. That's not good. Pretty dirty, a little dirty there. All right. So before we get too far, here's the carburetor. Let me zoom in and get you guys a good view. So I'm just going to kind of zoom in on the carb here. As you can see, I did hose this off with degreaser, and I mean, I took my finger up here, and you know, it's still pretty dirty on the inside edge here. Oh, there's a bunch of dirt up here. The carb itself, I mean, everything operates, but it's just got a lot of goop on it. Inside here, not sure about a little dangling bit of junk. I think we're just going to yank this whole carb off. It does look, I mean, pretty close from a assembly standpoint to this one. So I think the first thing though we'll do is pull this carb off, clean it, and just see if we can get it to work. So I want to do that now, but I'm not going to film myself unbolting this. Okay, so pulled the carb off and I loosened the bowl nut here, jet nut here. Let's put it there. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Plenty of junk in there. And there's the, yeah, the needle works. I just need to clean this, especially get all this junk out of there. And then we'll be in a better place. All right, let's do that. So some good news and some bad news. The old carburetor, it just didn't want to run right. So I swapped in the newer one. Fits in there just fine. Put a new air filter in, and then we put a clear line with a gas shutoff valve so you can see the fuel going in and out basically. So as you can see, the stickers are not on the mower yet. We're going to get to that next, but let's just start the mower and show how the new carburetor works. Mower runs fine. So now what we're going to do is get to the stickers, get the stickers onto here, and then maybe we'll mow my leaves over here just to give it a test run. But this mower's coming out pretty nice. Okay, so I have a whole new set of stickers. As you can see, they're on vinyl print sheets, and I just I photographed the previous stickers for the mower, and I cleaned them up in some image software, and then I printed them out to some vinyl paper, and then I threw a coat of gloss clear on them just so that they'll last a little better. We got to cut them out, and we're going to go stick them on the mower. Okay, gone ahead and cut the stickers out, thrown them back onto the mower, sort of the way they were before. Added one for the discharge just directly, because there wasn't one here, but there was one here, and we've cleaned all these up. Now we're just going to go try and mow some grass with this real quick and some leaves and see how it performs. Well, there you have it. Works great. Well, as you can see, the mower runs great. New blade on it works perfectly fine. Mulches up them leaves nice and perfectly. Saves me the trouble of raking them, I suppose. As you've seen, I've changed my clothes a couple times during this video sequence or video series. It took me a little bit longer than I expected. This mower ended up needing to have, well, let's see, the oil changed, the carburetor cleaned, and then ended up just changing the carburetor, replaced the fuel line, put a inline shutoff valve in there, changed the spark plug, changed the air filter, repainted it completely, swapped all the stickers, put a new blade on it. I mean, the mower's basically been completely restored back to sort of circa its origination date of 2010, but it runs great. If you like the content and you stuck around this long, probably do like the content, please do like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And if you have any questions or comments or whatever, feel free to throw them in the comments. Anyway, on to the next piece of equipment. Everybody have a wonderful day and enjoy your weekend. Thank you. Bye.